Hi guys, we're back with another Coffee with Bāeo, and today, along with Anna, we have Aida Garcia-Toledo.
Hi.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
So sexy. What a sexy name. I tried to say it with a little bit of an accent. I tried to do that. And then I tried to do it. That's terrible. Oh my gosh. So Aida's an amazing friend of ours and someone that we fell in love with quite quickly. Our kids all went to school together, go to school together. So
Yes.
Anna, do you want to give us a little...
So we really wanted to have Aida on because I think now is such a crucial time for all of us to make changes for the sake of our planet and everything that's happening right now with global warming. And all the disasters happening all over the world with, the fires and it's not good. But we could make it better is the good news. And I wanted to have Aida to tell us how we could all make a difference. That's not... Because every little difference you make really adds up. And I know you told me, even the food scrap thing was mind-blowing to me. So I definitely want to talk about that. So we are just going to ask you some questions of what we could do at home.
And Aida is I didn't say this, but you are a non-toxic... Oh my God. Can you say it?
She is the owner of Non-Toxic Munchkin.
Right.
And she is a sustainability consultant.
Yes.
We have used her a lot for Bāeo. She has... wrote. Jesus Christ, we're tired today. I write.
We had our first trade show yesterday. Just a heads up. So
which was all day.
All day. So our brains are running on a very different level. So forgive us for all the mumbling here.
So that's okay. So yes, you wrote a few blogs for us.
Yes.
And did a bunch of research, and she was our go-to person when we were creating Bāeo for all our ingredients, and we would send her everything, be like, is this good? Are we good? Are we clean? And so thank you for that.
No, of course.
But yeah, we would love to hear from you of how we could make small changes in our home and our lives to, for the sake of the environment.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure and an honor. And I'm really excited about today because I usually am always talking about chemicals and environmental toxins. And what we're going to talk about today is actually, I'm really passionate about it. And it's how we as, heads of families and households, what we can do to help our planet, because our planet is really in a crisis. And what really gets me excited about this is that everything that we do now, we're teaching our kids. So I feel like it's so exciting that we could potentially be teaching a whole new generation of kids to just grow up naturally doing these steps that we're going to be talking about, you know, and so that they can grow up and it'll just be very flawless for them, and they'll be doing things that automatically are better for the environment.
And teaching their kids.
And then teaching their kids.
Effect.
It's just it'll be like making their bed. They get up in the morning, maybe they make their bed.
Automatic.
Maybe that's part of your routine, but and they're going to be doing little things that
will, and it won't seem like a big deal for them because they will have grown up doing these things.
And it's a big deal for us because we didn't.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the first thing we need to talk about is how, the first step in living, a more eco-friendly lifestyle is that you really have to commit to it. Right. And generally, I like to say, take your time, baby steps, and that's generally okay. But I think that we are in a crossroads in our planet where we have to step it up. It's not okay to just be like, I have a recycling bin and I'm using non-plastic straws and I'm done. I'm really good, high five. We need to do more. We really do. Yeah. And the next decade needs to be dedicated to really doing a lifestyle change almost. Which can be difficult at first, but with practice, like everything in life, it will become automatic. And that's what's really exciting, because little things that you can do around the house will make a big impact.
Yeah.
So what we were talking about earlier was how to avoid it being overwhelming, because, oh my gosh, there's so much things, where do I start? Maybe trying to offer kind of a plan on, okay, these are solid, things that you can do at home, and we will be telling you what to do, and you can kind of cross it off, check it off. And that's just something easy that you can follow at home.
Yeah, I think if we could start with something really basic and easy.
What are some practical at-home things that you can do.
Yeah. So I like to divide it into categories, right?
Okay,
so
great.
we can do at home. I like to do food separately because that's its own little category, and on the go.
Okay.
And you could also talk about kids items,
I
but
love
let's
the
just do
idea
3.
for on the go. That's
Because there's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
So at home, you can start, I'm sure, like, I remember growing up and my mom saying, turn the lights off, and I just remember she was always nagging me about that.
Yes.
But there's a real reason for that. And turning the lights off and turning the TV off when it's not on, that's that's one of the main uses of electricity, and it's like a waste, and that is just a easy thing you can do at home that will help the planet.
Yeah.
At home.
So first thing on the list, turn your lights off.
Turn your lights off.
When you're not
That's
using-
super
and
easy.
that's great.
That's
Right.
super easy. Number 2, if you go into your closet, fashion is actually one of the most wasteful industries out there. You know, they use huge amounts of water, they contaminate water. Fast fashion particularly. Fast fashion is like this kind of inexpensive stores that they just sell things that don't really last very long, and the idea is that you're buying constantly new items, and you're probably throwing them away because they might it won't be in
Get
fashion
holes in
anymore.
them,
They get
yes.
holes.
Yeah.
So, weaning yourself from fast fashion is huge. Just buying, maybe investing in less pieces that are better quality and will last longer. That's going to make a big impact on climate. Also kind of looking at the materials that you're buying. Materials that are synthetic, that means like polyester, nylon, those are plastics. And not only is it really bad for the environment when they're producing these textiles, but every time you put them in the drying machine, microplastics kind of wash off and make their way into the wastewater. And that's actually a huge source of plastic pollution in our waterways.
And that's where Wyatt will say that it will end up in the belly of a whale.
Yes. Exactly.
He's like,
sadly,
he's like,
that's
there's litter
a
on the
major
ground.
contributor.
That'll end up in the belly of a whale.
It will end up. And microplastics, we won't see it.
Exactly.
And they actually
It's
end
like
up
in
in
their,
our bellies.
In their DNA.
And it's in our bellies
Yeah.
because we are ingesting food and air that
Yeah.
contains microplastics.
Wow.
So synthetic materials, it's hard to get away from them, but if you can opt for cottons and wools and hemp, and ideally organic cotton, because normal cotton is actually pretty bad for the environment too, because they use a huge amount of pesticides. But kind of cleaning up your closet, just thinking less is more.
Nice.
If you can buy secondhand, do that. That's huge. If you can save clothes, if you have one child and you're gonna have another child, reuse, all of that. Now Halloween's coming up, and I know, and I'm very guilty of this. Every year I've purchased new costumes for my kids. And this year I realized, I'm like, but wait a minute. First of all, they're usually made out of not the best material. It's usually like polyesters. And, even my kids who use them, I always said, well, they use them throughout the year, but really at the end they're going to end up in a landfill. So, kind of thinking of better quality, reusing, and buying secondhand. Those are key things to do in your closet.
And can I just insert here that I just saw on Instagram, there's a magazine called Mini Style Mag. It's called Mini Style Mag. Do you follow
I think
them?
I know what it is. Yeah.
Okay, so they just had an awesome, you could like scroll through all the different homemade costumes. And so
You're good at this.
I love homemade costumes, but they don't have to be, it doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Like overwhelming.
No, like for a butterfly, I loved this so much. It was like a brown dress, striped tights. They had a little headband that had like pipe cleaners and 2 little balls hanging off the top. Okay. And they took a box, like a brown corrugated, box that you get from Amazon, because Amazon loves their boxes, They're
everywhere.
And then you cut out the
wings.
butterfly wings. You trace the cutout with white paint, put a couple of white blotches on them, add a little belt, you got a butterfly costume, and it's the cutest thing you've ever seen.
It's really cute.
I mean, that's adorable.
So I'm not into making my own costumes, you know me, and I am guilty of going on Amazon and buying those really awful synthetic because they're so cute. But Lila wants to be a a rainbow skeleton. So we literally ordered her an don't ask,
Like
an organic black, and I'm gonna draw like the.
So you're crafty too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is the first time. You guys, it might not look good, but I'm trying. I'm trying to
I
do
think
something
it's so much
different.
more special that way.
It's special, and it's just kind of understanding.
Yeah.
And kind of like making an effort.
Yeah,
you
you're
try.
making you're making an effort.
Yes. So we
Okay.
have lights. We have clothes.
Yes.
So you go into your bathroom, and I think that actually one of the things that I love about Bāeo is that a lot of the containers are like metal and they're recyclable. They're not necessarily plastic. So I would say like in your bathroom, look around at the products that you're using every day: shampoo, like everything, moisturizer, makeup. And try to start paying attention to that when you're choosing your makeup. Look at packaging that's recyclable, but not recyclable like it's plastic and it's recyclable, because actually plastic, only about 6% of plastic is being recycled.
Which is crazy.
Which is, even if you're putting it in the recycling bin, it's mostly ending up in the landfill. So look for glass, stainless steel, or that kind of aluminum packaging, and start making that a priority. You're voting with your wallet. So when you're buying from companies that offer these things, these products in these packaging, it's not only the product, and the ingredients, but it's also the packaging.
That's right.
But also, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not just about the environment. Isn't things in plastic is in there?
Yes, there's there can definitely be leaching from the plastics.
Right.
So
it's
yeah,
not
it's
just
a
good for the
win-win for
environment,
you,
it's
for the
good for
environment,
your body as well.
Exactly. Soaps, I think most of us
just use Bāeo. And we
use Bāeo for everything.
Just use Bāeo for everything. We got you.
For soaps, I think most of us probably use, the pump, right? They're usually plastic.
Yeah.
Consider going back to basics. Consider going back to bar soaps, which just by definition are less wasteful.
Right.
And you can also, a lot of cities, especially if you live in a bigger city, they offer like zero waste little stores. Sometimes they show up at like farmers markets. Sometimes they actually have a brick and mortar store. And these places offer you the ability to go in with your own like packaging, and you can refill. So you can get your shampoo there. You can get your moisturizer there. Their Castile soap. And they have mostly the basics. It's usually organic because they're very just like more eco-friendly in general. And that's another alternative. Toothbrushes. Some of us don't think about toothbrushes, but we are replacing toothbrushes every couple of weeks or months. That ends up in the landfill always. Those actually by definition don't get recycled, even if they were recycling. So consider bamboo toothbrushes, or consider I know there's a brand called like Jack and Jill Kids or something like that, and they have I'm not really sure what's in their toothbrush, but it's compostable. So look for that. Try to avoid plastics in toothbrushes. And by the way, like for deodorant, that's another thing that there are some brands that offer deodorant in little glass bottles.
Yes.
And it's I remember when I first bought it, I was like, oh, it's kind of an inconvenience because you have to use your finger. But it's not, it's really not a big deal.
We've just been trained to do this.
Exactly.
Like it's really not a big deal.
And if you have like a preteen or a teen, if you start them off with that from day one, that's even better. I mean,
that's great.
She doesn't use deodorant.
I don't know why.
It's actually great. You don't smell.
It's never.
You never smell.
I hope I don't smell.
You don't smell.
Would you tell me? I just. It's like it's not something I grew up with. Like I don't know if in like Russia people. I don't know.
Use deodorant.
I don't know. It was not something I grew up with. Like it wasn't
a
thing that we had in my house.
I mean,
my mom. Oh no! Here's what they did. They put like. They like made their own at home that you put on. You leave on for 20 minutes, and then like you don't. It like helps. Not just for that day, but for like a month. I have to find out what it is. Like it was very Russian thing.
Recipe.
It's probably toxic.
Maybe not though. I feel like it could be something natural. Like I don't know. You never know. Find out.
I'll find out.
That's interesting.
Well, when I find out, we'll post it.
Well, yeah.
I'm looking very confused. I realized I was just like looking so confused at you, but I was trying to think of all the things that could like help with.
I know there's vinegar, and I know there's like vinegar and lemon, but there's something else.
I've heard of like milk of magnesium.
It was, I know there, I think it was like a whitish, powdery, and then you would put it on, leave it on for like 20, 30 minutes, and then wash it off, and then
it wasn't baking soda. Was it?
Maybe, is that, I don't know.
It could have been.
Yeah, because a lot of deodorants use like
Or like a clay.
clean ones.
You guys, I don't know. But anyways, I didn't grow up. What I'm saying is I didn't grow up with.
Why don't you know this?
I don't know. I will ask my mom.
Well,
But yes, so we have our closet, our lights, we have our toiletries, everything.
Yes.
Cleaning supplies.
I want to say before we go to cleaning supplies, female hygiene products, huge, tampons and pads, plastic,
a lot of plastic.
There's a lot of plastic going on. So
there's
alternatives
there. There's a movement there happening though. You can kind of see that things are
There's
changing.
more. They're shifting.
Well, I'm seeing a lot of organic.
There's
things
organic
now,
cotton.
and then I'm seeing all those underwears around.
Yeah,
There's underwears.
She
There's
thinks.
the cups, the menstrual cups.
Yeah, there's the cups.
And that's just once again, it's trying it out. Try it out. Maybe it works for you.
Yeah.
It's kind of seems like an inconvenience, but I think that once you put it into your daily routine, it won't be, and it can go a long way. I mean, this is something you use throughout your whole life, so it does add up.
Right.
So cleaning supplies and the environment. Cleaning supplies. You guys know how I feel about conventional cleaning supplies.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, you really only need to be having, you get a glass bottle, spray bottle, you mix it with vinegar and water, maybe drop an essential oil or something for the smell. And that's pretty much what you need for about 80%, of your cleaning needs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's not only good for your health, but it's also good for the planet. Because if you have a closet full of cleaning supplies, if you open your closet and you're seeing a whole bunch of products there, they're all made of plastic also. And not only the plastic, it's really also the pollution of the chemicals that are in.
Yeah.
It's polluting. It contributes to air pollution. It makes its way to the waterway.
Yeah.
So it's just bad for everyone. The planet, for you, for
everything you have said also saves you a lot of money. Every single thing.
So much money.
The closet, turning off the lights,
so much money. Buying less clothes.
Buy less. Yes. And then, in terms of cleaning products, I feel like people have so much stuff for every little thing. But
but that's because
vinegar,
they were marketed that way,
Right.
And I don't think I realized that until I was older, that you're just marketed. You're
clean has to smell like this.
Toilet, or clean has to smell
or
like
I
it,
need
right.
the Clorox because otherwise it won't be clean.
Yeah,
it won't kill the germs.
Yeah.
Wyatt
will walk into a public place now and he'll be like, "Oh, it smells like chemicals."
Yes.
And he'll be like, "It smells like chemicals." And
yes.
It does, but sort of training them to know that's what that smells like.
That's what it smells like, and it's not a good thing for you.
Yeah.
Or for the planet. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I love this. I'm learning so much too.
So I'm thinking, what else for the home? Big tickets. Maybe
I did just read something. So we were doing some research for Your Zen Mama, and there is so 7th Generation is doing something new, and or maybe it's not new, but I just discovered it in the Bay Area, but where they're taking their eco-leaning diapers, and they're doing, because of the way that they're made, they're able to take them, put them through so they pick them up, put them through a process, and then they break them down, and then can use them for other things.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
That's cool.
So I'm gonna try to find a link for that, because
I think we'll give a lot of links with this talk.
Yeah.
There's there's a lot of thoughts behind diapers and eco diapers versus regular diapers versus using reusable diapers, but then there's a whole thing if you're not doing washing practices that there's a lot of different avenues. What are your thoughts on diapers really quick?
Here's the thing. And I'll preface this by saying that I unfortunately did not use reusable diapers. If I would have another child, I would try them.
Yeah.
I think that nowadays reusable diapers are much more they're just friendlier to use, they're easier to use. So I think that it's worth trying. Maybe even you use them part of the time, maybe not all the time. When you're hanging out at home, I don't know, you find a balance, and that would be ideal. I think that you have to be careful. There's a lot of greenwashing going on with diapers, with disposable diapers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of well-meaning companies that will market something as it's compostable, it's recyclable. But the reality is that, it is, but it has to be in a very specific industrial facility. And the reality is that those diapers usually don't make it there.
Yeah.
For example, I would say that this, what you're talking about, the some generation, and this happens with other great brands too. You know, if you don't live in the Bay Area, what happens?
No, that's what I mean though, is that it's cool that this company is doing something. So, right, this is their first attempt at it.
So they're hoping to make it.
So I think this is something that they're going to expand.
Hopefully.
But like they've been such a pioneer in
have.
the industry of like trying to make a change here, that this is, I felt like it was really cool that they're trying this out, and then we'll hopefully be able to expand it. Because like I think some of the statistics I was reading was like 20 billion diapers
make their way
every year.
And
it takes 100 years
for them to decompose.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So if that's the case, like, it's not only are we having the issue of the plastics, you know, but we're also, there's methane that gets put off from all the poo diapers.
Right.
Like, there's just a major crisis with diapers.
Yeah.
So the fact that a company's like, okay, we're gonna try this
They're gonna
out,
try.
and we're gonna see if this works.
Yeah.
It's a big
so
deal.
there's
It is a big deal.
a country, I think it's in Europe, but I'm not sure which one it was. That what they have is that they have like little, almost like mailboxes that you might have around, you know, the city, and you could drop your diapers there. And they would
that's
do that.
great.
Yeah,
Maybe
that made
I think
it
there's
easy.
so many solutions
There's
that we're
gotta be
just
an
that we don't
initiative with
have
that.
yet. But I
Yes.
think, like you said, you vote with your dollar, with your
You do.
wallet, and I
Yeah.
think if enough of us demand the change, it'll come.
And put your money in the companies that are doing
doing
doing something.
Yeah.
Like, for
Huge.
example, the closet thing. H&M takes old clothes and
recycles.
recycles the
They do thread up, or do they do something else?
I'm not sure how it's done, but I just Debbie told us about it.
Yeah.
So that's just something like, oh, if I have something old, you don't, and you know, you can't give it to
Yeah.
someone to use if it has holes in it or whatever, you take it to
Recycle
something
yeah.
like.
By the way, H&M has a conscious line, which is organic, and
Right.
you know, I feel like if you're going to buy fast fashion, then maybe buy their organic line, so that
Right.
they realize, oh, people are really interested in this.
Right.
You know, there's
Yeah,
things
small
like that.
changes. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely vote with your. But going back to the diapers and wipes, you know, I think wipes are also something else that is a huge waste. Most of them are not biodegradable. And it's a really easy switch. I understand you might need your wipes for when you're on the go.
Yeah.
But when you're at home, you can very easily just have like little, you know, like little towelettes, I guess. That's what I used to use.
Yeah.
Or I used to use cotton, which was like big cotton that I found when we lived in Mexico back with my first child.
Yeah.
And that was just like a very easy switch that seemed like a no-brainer that you could do at home.
Yes.
And you know, it really cuts back, because there's a lot of wipes that can potentially be thrown out, you know, in your house with a little one.
I mean, I think when your kid gets a little bit older, washing them in the sink is so easy and good
Also,
for them. Like,
it's better for their skin and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
Also, I mean, not that, but this
Bāeo
is gonna
baby?
sound crazy. Yeah,
Bāeo baby's great too.
No, that's why I wasn't gonna go there. And this sounds crazy, but like, back to Russia and my mom. But like, everyone in Russia has their kids not in diapers by one, and I know that's not doable for a lot of people, but introducing your kid to a toilet early on does make a difference.
Yeah, or maybe try at least and see
Yeah,
if they're ready for that.
it doesn't even, like, Jalen's 14 months, and I literally just, you know how crazy I am. I have a little potty, and I put them on the potty, and I just, like, introduce them to the idea. And you don't have to force it. You don't have to. If they're screaming, don't do it, obviously.
Right.
But, like, they kind of get into it.
They might
and
be
now
curious about
we
it.
have a lot of pee diapers still, so I do go through a lot of diapers, and probably should do something about that. But when it comes to poo, he just goes in the potty because he,
That's
like,
amazing.
likes it.
But like for
And
a
he's
while.
so little.
But for a while he's been doing that.
He's been doing it since he's, like,
8 months.
8 months.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
they're really
But maybe they
brilliant
surprise
little
you.
human beings,
Yeah.
and they do surprise you. So like you said, try it.
Just try it. I mean,
Every
it's
little
just
thing.
it's worth trying.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, who doesn't want to be done with diapers?
Exactly.
Like, just because
Said
it's
no,
us.
mom. Yeah. So, okay. So I think that just gives you an idea of things that you can do around the house. And I'm sure there's much more that we're missing,
Yeah.
but that's just like a great starting point.
Yeah.
And I don't know, but we can talk about food now, just because food is, I've seen a
for
couple
sure.
of great documentaries that maybe I'll give you the link so you can link to
Yeah,
that
we
too
love that.
lately, that have opened my eyes to what an issue food is. So when we're talking about food and the planet, there's three things that you have to think about. First of all, how is the food produced? How is it grown? Where is it grown? Second of all, how is it packaged? Does it get to you? And third, what happens with the food disposal? right? And all three of these have the capability of doing major harm for our planet. How it grows, for example, meat, a lot of people don't realize that meat is one of the main causes of deforestation. You know, Amazon was recently in the news, and one of the main reasons for deforestation in the Amazon forest is meat production. It's just landowners just making space for cattle. Because their demand has gone up. So if you can just switch, I'm not necessarily saying become a vegetarian overnight. I understand that's not for everyone possibly, but if you can just switch to 50% of the time, that's 3 or 4 days a week eating vegetarian, the impact, if everyone does that, is huge. You know, like, and eating vegetarian's pretty easy. It doesn't have to be very exotic. You know, it can be pasta, it can be soups, it could be
rice.
I don't know, beans. Yes, rice and beans. You know, stir fry, and not stir fries.
There's different stir fries.
Yeah. Plural stir fry.
Cactus.
So that can have a huge impact on the planet. The packaging, that's when you're going to like the grocery store, and
that's hard. It's a hard one.
It is, but it doesn't have to be. And I'll be honest, like, it's only recently that I've kind of gotten my act together and made an impact in this. But when you go to the grocery store and you buy rice, and maybe you buy ketchup, and maybe you buy mayonnaise, and maybe you buy fruits, right? And yogurt, and maybe milk. All of these usually come in either plastic packaging, and usually there's an option of glass packaging. For the fruits and the vegetables, I'm talking about like the prepackaged ones.
Right.
You know, there's no need for the plastic prepackaging. You know, you can just
buy fresh.
Get them fresh. I mean, just get them loose, you know?
Yeah.
And I also mean like the little plastic produce bags that are in every single grocery store, which is completely unnecessary. I mean, I just, you know, just either bring your own or just put them into your grocery cart without a plastic bag. I mean, there's no need. You're going to wash them at home anyway, probably. So
or you could just like bring a little, if you have like a little box left over from something, like bring it with you.
Bring it with you.
Your own bag.
There's so many options. You don't need those plastic bags. For example, dairy, especially for dairy, which tends to be heavy in fat, like from a chemical standpoint, when high fat dairy or cheese is stored in plastic, there's a possibility that there can be leaching of the plastic into, I think the highest exposure rate of phthalates, which are endocrine disruptors, which kind of mimic and do a mess with your hormones, is through food packaging. So if you can just look for those options that are glass, for ketchup, for all that kind of things, that's better for the planet, that's better for you. I mean, usually what's better for your health is going to be better for the planet, and you have to, you know, realize that. And I think also what helps me sometimes is like just, you know, imagine that, like, just to pick on ketchup a little bit more, but like imagine that plastic ketchup bottle, like hanging around for 300 years, you know, like it's just gonna be there forever. So those are easy switches, and I'm trying to think. And also you could bring your own, you know, produce bags for rice, because I mean, I was doing everything I just mentioned, but then I was still buying the rice in the plastic container, you know, and I'm like, no, there's a bulk bin. I can do this. I just have to get organized, you know, or the nuts, you can grab it instead of getting the plastic. And it adds up. If these are items that you're eating at home all the time, it really does add up.
And then just take that rice home, pour that rice into a giant mason jar, and then you market rice, and then your pantry looks cuter too.
And it looks super cute. It looks super organized. Instagram ready.
Hello. Done.
So that's packaging. And then food waste. So food waste is, I really had not realized what a big contributor it is. I mean, this morning I actually read that if food waste were a country, it would come in number 3 after China and the United States for its contributions to global warming. And that just blows my mind. And the reason is that when you throw away food and it goes to the landfill, it produces methane gas, and that's a huge contributor to global warming. And the solution is not that hard. It's just, I think people kind of get scared. The solution is compost. If you're lucky, in certain cities, your city will compost for you, but that means that you have to be aware that this is a possibility, and you have to be able to put all your food disposal, like scraps, into the compost bin, and then usually it's like the green
it's
green
like where
garbage.
your lawn bin or
whatever. Where like you put your leaves and your gardening stuff. So locally, for example, Santa Monica does that. Santa Monica, if you live in Santa Monica, California, you can put all your food scraps in your green bin, and the city will take it off and they will compost it. If you live in LA,
we can only put vegetables and fruits.
You can only put fruits and vegetables.
Everything else we need to
figure out.
Right.
Basically.
There are services that you could hire.
Yes.
You could also like you could put it in the disposal, but I don't know if that goes.
Yeah, I'm not 100%. I should have checked on that one. I'm not sure. I do put some things on the disposal that'll ultimately make its way to, I'm not really sure about that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so where I live, we could only put fruits and veggies in the green bin.
Right.
Which is
great. It is a start, and it just means that you have to have a little bin, maybe in your kitchen, where you can collect that,
right,
and just make sure that goes into that bin. And then if you really don't have any options, you can contemplate composting yourself. There's usually like nonprofits that are available that give you classes on composting. There's classes on YouTube on composting. And what's really cool about composting, and this is why I am committing myself to trying this out in the next year, is that composting usually makes like this amazing soil, and it's like a live, like living soil. And I really just saw like this weekend, this great documentary about dirt and soil and the difference and the crisis that we're in terms of like good soil for growing good nutritious foods. And it's I don't remember what it's called, but I'll give it to you so you can post it. It really opens your eyes to how important soil is. Amazing. And anyway, so if you're composting, you can actually, a really nice byproduct of it is that you can then use that soil in your home garden,
right?
And maybe grow your own food, which would be amazing, I think. And I think
my dream is to have.
It's a dream, and I think a lot of us think that that's like really hard. I don't have a green thumb. I don't have the space. But after watching this documentary, I realized that you don't need the space. You can do it indoors. You can do it on a balcony. You can do it if you have a little space outside. It can be vertical gardens. Yeah. So there's options. Yeah. But definitely food scraps, look into that, I would say. I mean, that's like a major change that I would encourage at home and everyone's home because of how serious it is, what a contributor it is to global warming.
Yeah. So, plastic bottles. I know people still get I
was at a friend's house the other day and got served plastic bottles. Yes, I mean, the reality is that, first of all, I think there's an understanding. People think that plastic water is just safer to drink, but the reality is that it's not regulated as strictly as tap water, so you really don't know what you're getting in there. Second of all, when water is in plastic for a very long time,
and like the heat,
and when I say the heat, it's not like, I don't leave my water bottle outside, so it's not a problem. But you have to think about the transportation before it made it to the supermarket, in the warehouse, in the trucks, wherever. That's what kind of increases the possibility of endocrine disrupting, which are hormone disrupting chemicals, to make their way to the water. So, and then you have the fact that these water bottles are just not being recycled. We can't emphasize this enough. Even if you're putting this stuff in your recycling bin, most of it is not getting recycled.
So the quick fix, what can you do?
The quick fix, I mean, really the only fix is getting a water filtration system. Get what you can afford, spend some time figuring out what is in your water. You can find that out online.
But honestly, compare that to what you spend on water bottles.
Yes,
that was part of the thing too, is you look at okay, how many times do I go and get one of those giant jumbo sizes of this water, and then you multiply that over a year, and you probably are going to make up for the
You'll pay it off.
Yeah, for the
1 year.
And there's some really great high quality companies that $200 or $300,
Yeah.
which you will make up, if you were paying
in no
for plastic.
time, honestly, because those can be very expensive.
Yeah.
Even if you're getting them on sale at Costco.
Yeah. No, it
can
adds
be
up. It adds up because it's every day.
You have your
drinking
water
every day.
bottles at home that are reusable,
and you're
and always take them with you.
and
Yeah,
take always
them
take
yeah,
them with
you
you
always
everywhere
take
you
them
go.
with you.
Now, before we get to on the go,
Mm-hmm.
I think we should close this chapter out and do on the go in another video, because I think on the go is so important.
Okay.
Yeah.
That if people want to just click on that and go, what can I do on the go? Before we close this out, though, Anna and I were just recently at the Environmental Media Honors, and they were honoring Jonathan Safran Foer, who has written many books, including Eating Animals. And so he had an amazing idea that he said that he didn't come up with. This was something that he had a couple who were very young, and they, were just getting married, and they were interested in his book. It's the one about the weather.
Yeah, they came to his book signing.
They came to his
and
book.
the first page that's blank for him to sign.
Yes, they
he
had
opened it
written,
and it was like their plan, right?
Yeah. So what they did is they wrote out a plan. And this was their plan that they were going to stick to for the next year. And then they wrote out, okay, so for every Monday, we're going to dedicate that we are not going to eat meat on Mondays. For lunch and breakfast on Wednesdays, we're going to be vegans.
It was very specific.
It was really specific. And then it was like, we're always going to carry our bags to the grocery, and we're always going to have our reusable water bottles. And so they just had like a list of some changes that they were going to make in their home. And instead of having him sign their book, at the bottom it said witness, and they wanted him to like sign it that he witnessed that this was a change they were going to make. So we thought it was so cool that in your family at home you can go through with your kids and you can say, what's a change, or what are a couple changes, and maybe everybody gets to add one that we're going to make in our family and that we're going to hold each other accountable for.
I love that.
For the next year. And so that's something that's really great and practical that you as a family can do as a team. And when you're doing this, we call it in our home, it's our adventure. When you're doing this adventure together, it's exciting, and it's something that you're all learning.
And you're all a part of.
And you're all a part of it.
So you feel invested in it.
Yeah. So that's
a good idea.
Thanks, Jonathan Safran Foer. Okay, so we're going to close this out, and then we will...
we'll be back.
Right below, we'll be on the go.
Bye.